Nature positive is one term that keeps coming up at COP15, reminding me of all the buzz that surrounded carbon neutrality and net zero a few years ago. There are a lot of questions about this ambitious, quote, global goal for nature being asked by attendees here at the UN Biodiversity Conference in Montreal. You're about to hear two people speaking on this topic. First is a university student who was skeptical, to say the least, about the proposition. Then I took her concerns to the director of the International Union for Conservation of Nature in Washington, D.C., the go-to person at COP15 for the nature positive proposal, and allowed him to respond.
I think that a lot of the talk that's happening here is about stuff, they're calling it nature positive solutions, which is basically turning biodiversity into an equation where you can still have minus, but as long as you have more plus, then you can offset your minuses and it's nature positive. But really this is a way to give extractive industry license to continue deforesting, continue contributing to biodiversity loss through their extractive industries. And nature and biodiversity and land is not something that you can turn an equation into, because you can't, let one species go extinct and say, oh, it's fine because there's more nature somewhere else, wherever that means.
It's not that we're trying to make an equivalency between destroying nature over here and conserving it over there. That's not the way this is working. What we want to do is to make sure that all the positive contributions add up to what it is that we need to achieve to have a habitable planet in 20, 50, 100 years' time. It's a really, really important principle that the first thing you need to do in order to contribute to the global biodiversity framework is to stop doing the bad stuff. And the bad stuff is things like chopping down old growth forests, destroying rainforests, polluting rivers, whatever it might be. Reduce the impacts of the things that absolutely have to be done. We have to be digging holes in the ground to dig up minerals to make batteries for electric cars. We can't avoid that. But we should pick places where the impacts on biodiversity are as little as possible. And then, in addition to that, we should be doing positive things which add to the sum of good stuff that's happening out there. We should, for instance, create new protected areas or support the conservation of threatened species in places where they're not currently being focused on, those kinds of things. The sum total of all those things means that you're moving away from doing lots of bad things towards doing lots of good things. And that's what nature positive is.
So, is the nature positive proposal a way to heal the earth? Or will it just allow for the continued exploitative business practices that got us here in the first place?